Well, the reason was for me because I kind of went first time as a. Well, I always have been wanted like to. I've never like fitted into any kind of bigger system or what is already there, and my parents have like all the time been pretty like independent and created like their own and built their own things. So, but for MoKS it was that I went to the residency in Finland first time as an independent after graduating the art school, and then on that residency 2 months it was my first contact of like seeing how the organizations or how artists are working abroad. And then this place in Finland, Lavisa Artist in Residence, where I was run by one artist himself. So and so we started to talk, and he was kind of like urging me or pushing like to start something in Estonia. And then like coming back from there, I told this idea to my friend who lives here in this village, like to start residency program. And then I like to make artist in residency, and then we kind of started to look for places where to make the residency. And somehow all this, because my friend Maya, who is from this place, she had like a very strong contacts with, like very strong feelings with that place that is like around here, like all these rare buildings, and so she had like a kind of. So I even don't remember actually who it was or something, but we kind of made as a site for residency, because residency didn't work in the first year because we had to raise the funds and things, but we wanted already to make something, so we made this event, this Postsovkhoz, and all this surrounding here. It was a kind of like a push for this concept, and yeah.
Yeah, I think I came somehow in the right moment, it seems, because it was still somehow before everything was really starting. There hadn't been a residency program. I mean, a few people had visited, but the program itself didn't start.
Well, we had already actually this Spanish guy was already. It was like kind of test. It was like on a test phase. We had already some.
Yeah, but I think that's not a program.
Yes,
that's a test. Yes. So I came right before the actual program had started. So Evelyn had already, I think, selected the artists who would come for that year. But I think there was still a lot of questions for her. So mostly when I came here, there had been a lot of discussions. And, I was curious about it because I'm also interested in, more like independent activities, things that people do because they want to do it, not because they're trying to fit into some already predefined systems or structures. So for me it's very inspiring to see people just to do that. And if I can help, it's good. So I think it went from that. And there was also the issue about having this space be a little bit maybe too isolated, or that was the feeling at the time. I don't know.
Well, also isolated because there were no any means of modern communication technologies.
Yeah, I mean that's okay in a practical sense. There was never even a telephone line installed in this house, so
Hello.
we just went from nothing to broadband, radio link in one step. But I mean, yeah. So I mean, I don't look at making an internet connection so much as importance of technology, but what you use it for. That's just the communication. So, and this is what started my job here. So I also created my own job so that I could stay and work.
Well, yes, we have language problems, because that was the thing here. We had to throw this whole process change it a little bit, because it was more like to get contact with people with the language too. Something you know about it, but you don't know it completely. Like Finnish and Estonia are quite close, but not exactly. So we can just pick like words from there and understand something, but not all. But we had a translator in Rusjan, so it was easy to speak with the people there. But here it was like we didn't have any translator. We just have 3 questions in Estonian and tried to approach people, and it was actually quite how do you say, teaching. You could see yourself more, that you had to overcome your shyness, Finnish shyness. So it was really quite difficult thing to do. We were just saying that we are artists from Finland, because they knew something that there's artists visiting the place. And we were saying that if you can just ask from your memories from this village, like we are gathering them, most of the people were quite friendly and talking with us, but because they didn't speak any Finnish and we didn't speak Estonian, they only were speaking Estonian.
I think in general I like to see the art. I don't like to go into a gallery or a museum. And when I go to some city, I never go to the galleries. I don't like to go to galleries, and I don't like to create an empty space and put the artwork in the space. I really don't think this is the way how it should be. So if I go to a new place, or if I go to a town, I like to see the people who live there, the way how they live there. This for me is much more art than some artist who puts some sculpture, some strange objects that nobody can relate to. And I think it's very important to go to the people where they are, where they live, in their situation, and try to show them something different, but within a context that they can understand what's going on. If you come to Mooste and you put some big cube in the middle of the square and you tell them this is art, okay, they will have a look at it and they will go like, okay, I don't know, and maybe they will even get angry about it or discuss about it, but I don't think it will really touch them. They won't really have any relation to it. And I like much better to find a situation where they feel at home in their own situation, where they know something is strange, and suddenly they like kind of wake up and they like what's going on, and to try to find this situation, but it's very difficult.
We can survive with that. Not everyone would call it living.
Oh, first years it was basically that I made like loans from my parents to make the place running, and now after like getting the fundings, yeah, we kind of try to, because we are also using the space here. Basically, we don't have to pay for living, pay rent, because we are working here. And this is also like a part of our pay, and yeah, we pay like ourselves small salaries. But of course, there are some small things what we have to do, and it's. It was what you see now inside. It was only not only, but it was this part, this quarter. It was basically renovated, but there was no electricity works were not finished, and the canalization wasn't finished. So we did like this kind of final works. And then after that, because basically we didn't got this house officially into our use until last spring, like 4 years we were kind of squatting it in mutual agreement with local community who wasn't either the owner of the house actually. So it was kind of weird deal we had with them, but when we got there like this this contract for 10 years, then we could start actually doing, and we saw it's like a worth of investing when we know that we can continue here. It has changed during these 5 years, like because I mean when you come here and you want to live here, then you can't avoid the surrounding, what is around. So and we have to make contacts. But yeah, village mayor has been like the main key actually to kind of like
Well, I mean, we're like a non-profit organization, but the goal is to we're a public project and publicly funded. So, you know, I take that quite seriously. To say that we're for the place, what we do here. So it's because again, you can't isolate yourself from this context as much as you could with, say, living in a city. Because a city, you know, lots of people live in big cities and they live in the same apartment building, and you can live there 50 years and never know your neighbors. So there is this anonymous thing, whereas here it's completely different. You can be anonymous, everyone knows about you, what you're doing. So, you know, that's the balance, and you have to work with that. Because otherwise, if you isolate yourself too much, then you have the risk that the people will just, you know, do something to prevent you from continuing or whatever. You know, you need that support. I mean, otherwise, yeah, you know, we need. It's important to get feedback like that.
I'm setting up a shop between two shops in Mooste, and the inventory is made up of the items from there, and I'm selling them for the same price. And with the money I raise, I buy new products, so rotate them months. It's going pretty good. It's mostly local children are the primary consumer, and a lot of passers-by are starting to understand what's happening. Yeah. There's some very limited conversation happening because of the language difficulty, but that's kind of part of the project, is to try and learn the language through these products. But I'm also having help through some of the local people who are helping me work the shop. Trying to communicate more specifically with people, and that sort of helps with the purchasing. Oks, kaks, kolme, neli, viis, smak.
That's coming with me.
They can tell the price.
I can give them the price. I've been learning, well, I don't think we have some children that are teaching me the various animals on the packages. So.
My name is Tori Sallase. I'm living in Mooste, so I'm a local guide. And I don't know, there's the same. I moved here a year ago, so I didn't know the place very well, but I can show you all the places here. And I lived in Tallinn before. I'm Estonian, and I love cats.
So you said you lived in Tallinn and now you live in Mooste.
Yeah.
What is the difference?
Well, Mooste is a small place. In Tallinn, there are more possibilities to live like you want. Also, it's a lot more noisy. But I like Mooste, it's beautiful here.
You found friends when you...
No,
No?
no.
So you are mostly alone?
Yeah. But, yeah, sure, I found MoKS, so I'm not totally alone because there are always people here. But I have friends in Tallinn and I'm visiting them very often.
You talk
Well,
to...
it's quite exciting because, well, still, 3 foreigners. And I can practice my language skills. I can learn new languages. And I can meet new interesting people all the time. And yeah, I found some friends here, but they're not staying here all the time, so...
I know.
What about their art?
Well, when I first came here, I didn't understand. I thought that art is something like drawing a sunset or making pop music, that it's all sound art. But yeah, now I've seen that there are different styles of art and I like them, I really do.
Do you think this is a kind of additional non-formal education for you?
Yeah, sure.
And you have another school besides some other school?
Well, I'm going to start use adult gymnasium in high school, and I'm sure it's not as interesting than that this school. So yeah, I like it here better.
Do you feel sometimes to join with this project or make your own?
Well, I've never made my own projects here because I don't know what to do with my talent. It's writing and I don't know what to do with it here. I can't write on the wall. I can't write on a tape, so
you published your book on internet?
Yeah.
So maybe one day you find a way to connect these things?
Well, yeah, it's possible.
And how do you see your future? Like, will you stay in Mooste or you want to go somewhere else?
Well, probably I'm going away. Probably I'm going abroad. So, but I'm coming back. So you're not going to get rid of me so easily.
And so the idea of the mural is that it's. I was interested in making an index of place and time of the inhabitants and the organisms here at Mooste, and the mural is a kind of a legend, like an index of how the space is being used. So it's a recording, kind of like a recording of 15 minutes of time at in Mooste. So the kids were involved in observing the organisms and how they're using the space as well as mapping themselves. So some of them were like scientific observers and some of them were actors in this pattern making, and we assigned them colors, and then this pattern was flipped up back onto the wall, and now we're painting it in. And I think what was interesting with that project was that they saw the problems and the limitations of the scientific method, which is, for me, was interesting because the scientific method places the observer as distant from the thing that he or she is observing, and the kids were really aware that, when they were in the middle of the area that they were supposed to observe, and they couldn't see what was behind them, and then their subject ran away, and then they moved and they try to get the subject back in. They try, the cat ran away. They try to get the cat back so they could observe the patterns, and so, but it was very intuitive for them. The impossibility of an objective observation. So, anyways, this is the idea.
And how did you sign the Museum of the Cat?
So each when we were observing the bugs, for instance, it's like such a small scale compared to the large area that we divided the space up into equal parts, and then there's one observer for each area, and they recorded on their piece of paper. We did all these exercises. They recorded the pattern of the bug like on their piece of paper. So if the butterfly went this way, then on each piece of paper there's a stripe through this, and so we put them all together. Then the second process, when we were observing larger subjects like animals or people or bicycles, they each had the same proportion of the entire space, and they mapped the pattern like this, so just using pencil.
And each of these colors is one action, one.
Yeah.
So they can read the whole thing.
Yeah, and they remember. Oh, that's right. We chose mosquitoes. So the title of the project is Legend, or in Estonian Legend, which in both English and Estonian means both a story and like a legend, like you're telling a myth or a legend, and also when you have a map. You unfold the map, on the corner is the code or the index, the legend. So it's this idea of this index or legend that also has a narrative, like a myth, for them will be a story that they can then tell people. That was, and I think what's interesting about that project is that they remember, I remember that mosquito went like that. And, in one area I took a butterfly and I went like this, so I was drawing with the butterfly in my hand, and so they remember that. They say, oh, that's when she took the butterfly like this. Oh, that's when I moved like this. So,
great.
Yeah. So originally the parents thought that they wanted a sunset, and so we were worried that they were not going to like the idea. But they see that the kids are really excited, and they like the colors. So it's great.
This is something that really actually, I think, makes you continue that work here. When you see that, when you see that people, the artists who are coming here, that they are happy with the work, what they can do here, and then that's why it's like a really, I think this is what kind of like a motto for the project. That the feedback of the artist, and this is how to.
Well, the artists tend to give the best feedback because they're the ones in direct contact, and they go through the situation. Getting public feedback is much harder. But this, for me, I think it creates part of the ethic or the philosophy is that why you try to get people more directly involved, because when they're directly involved, then you're also going to get more direct feedback. For me, it's not it doesn't seem so important to get like magazine or newspaper coverage so much as it would be that someone would actually come here and do a project directly with the space. Because this whole thing, like, especially with media, it's you can never trust it, actually. I think people, it can, make you a success almost as easily as it can destroy you. So I'm much more careful about those kind of things. But with people, it makes you deal with real emotions, real situations, and so on. And if a person feels good about what they do here or has a good experience, then they tell other people and they come back. That's more what is valuable. Well, one thing I think is can also create these problems. I mean, I just thought about this, that if you, a lot of the problems come when you just, maybe you would lose faith, you know, that you think, oh, this should really be happening, you know, and then it's all of a sudden it's a kind of issue. So if we expect people to come and help out, and then people just like it don't show up, okay, these are, you know, that's a small issue, but then it makes you think, well, you know, are people really interested? Do they want to help? How do we motivate them, and so on? But then always somehow they still seem to come through. So it's, I would say, when things don't happen in the time that you expect it to, in the way you expect it to, this can be something which maybe can make you lose faith in what you're doing. So it's this kind of up and down thing.
We prepare our game, but we have some problem with wind. So I want today to paint all these 2 meters around, but it's half of work now, less than half. This will be a legend, and it will be some poem, and these things which you taking to the when you want to play a game. So it will be possible to play in your mind, I think, because you can't go there.
ここでのタイトルは、Perception with the forsake of the wind、風の、まあ一応風の道というね、Road of Spirit、まあ僕のその気持ちの中では、風の道、風と自然のための道というようなことを自分自身が精神的に理解するためにインスタレーションをしてみようと思っています。それでまあ、今まで光の道、それから風の道、それから音の道というのをインスタレーションしてきたんですけれども、まあ今回はその中でのこの場所のこのスペースのイメージから風の道というのを作ってみようかなと思いました。OK?
Strong power from branch.